I call to order this January 6, 2023 meeting of the Berlin Cultural Council to order at 7:37 p.m. pursuant to former Governor Baker's March 12th, 2002 orders suspending certain provisions of open meeting law, which has been reenacted many, many times. You're being recorded. I'm not going to read the rest of the bureaucratic mumbo jumbo. So, yes, so the first item on the agenda is approving the minutes from the last meeting of sometime last year.
I move we approve the minutes as written.
I second that motion. So Jess, yay or nay on approving the minutes? Deborah, yay or nay on approving the minutes?
Yay, I'm just gonna run to grab a pencil. I realized I didn't have anything.
Okay,
Okay.
and I vote as well that we approve the wonderfully provided minutes.
Awesome.
So the minutes are approved. One of these days I'll
Yay.
actually catch
Okay.
up on putting them on the side. Do that.
Oh.
So that brings us to the main point of our meeting, and that is making $8,487 turn into $7,000. We still have to do we have to wait longer on that 100 from Neshoba before we?
Yes, I was gonna look at that. I just haven't had time. But I intend to. I was thinking about it today. I think that the project needs to have been completed by December 31st. And then I think they actually have an entire year after that. But I'm gonna have to go back to look at the rules to make sure that is correct. So we need to encumber the money until we determine, what's going to happen. And it may end up, again, reaching out. I may have to call somebody or find a different person to email, because Jess, I don't know if I told you, I know, our conversations are all over the place when I come to visit you for a signature. Neshoba has not requested reimbursement. I reached out to the person who wrote the grant via email. I have not heard from them. I reached out, MJ, what would you say, at least a month ago?
Yeah, I
And
think
this is
so.
for $100?
Yeah, and I haven't heard back from them. So, I know there's a turnover of people in organizations like that. So in fairness, I think I have to reach out again to see. I don't know. And I guess I have to do a little research to see if anything happened this year. Did they do performances, as they, requested reimbursement for? So if they did, then they're still entitled to it. And I'm pretty sure that as long as the project was completed by 12/31/22, they're entitled to, for an entire year, be able to request reimbursement.
Okay.
But I will look at that, and at our next meeting, we can talk about it. So we have $100. It's kind of hovering over there.
Okay.
So given this is, kind of a group thing as opposed to being able to look at them so much individually, is there any place anyone wants to start on ones we think we can drop some money from, or ones we want to lock in to try to not drop money from?
You know me, I did have a thought process on this,
Okay,
because you know how I work.
yeah,
I looked at everything, and we have 4 basic categories of requests for grant money. schools, library, the seniors, and the general population of Berlin. And if we look at all of them, in terms of how much money we give them, it's somewhere around, if we want to be fair and equal to all the groups, it's around $1,500 plus or minus for each group. The schools come in right at 1,500. The library comes in at 2,500. The seniors come in at 1,500, and the general population in Berlin comes in at 1,500. So I think it's fair to say that if we look at every group equally, it's the library that we have to really think about. And I know, I'm pretty sure at the last meeting, MJ, you had said that if you had the opportunity, you were going to talk to somebody at the library to see if there was a group that they did not want to fund, or did they want to look at a certain amount of funding?
Yeah, and I don't think I ended up doing that.
Okay. So that being said, I think we have to really take a look at the library and dropping them down a bit in my calculations, even if we could potentially, if we funded every single one of their requests, 2, 3, 4, 5, we could drop them down to about $2,000. The other people were all hovering around 1,500, and we're pretty close to making the 7,000 when we do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, before the meeting started, I was going through looking at, what the different grants had to say about, what happens if they fall short, and they kind of, some are more open about that as a possibility, and others, but I mean, general sense is that from the library ones that they would probably get additional funding from the Friends of the Library, and I don't know what kind of budget they have, but I would imagine certainly with their fundraising efforts that they could afford to eat some of that cost.
Yeah, I would expect so. And, the schools less likely, the seniors very much less likely. And, the general population, we can play around with the amount there.
Yeah. Well, what ones did you classify as the general population?
The 19 Carter. Look at these. Of course, I wrote them down. I didn't say which ones they were on my on my spreadsheet here.
Because the ones that kind of come to mind for me on that is 19 Carter requested 1,000, and then the music therapy at the Virginia Thurston Healing Garden was also 1,000.
Yes, that was another one. Yeah.
And I would say certainly on both of those, I think we would have to make some cuts, but I think particularly the Healing Garden. I mean, I'm glad we're going to put funding towards that this year. I think it's a worthwhile thing, but I think particularly where it is not in Berlin, I'm a little more comfortable with knocking that one down somewhat.
Yeah. The third one I put into the general population was Matt York.
Yeah.
His songs, and this spreadsheet that they have on this new Smart Simple didn't come out good, but he was the other person I put down as the general population.
Yeah.
So library, even though they came in two different ways, they came in as Town of Berlin and they came in as library. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 requests. And even if we only funded each one for $500, it came out to $2,500.
Yeah,
Schools definitely full funding or pretty much full funding. You know, we could do full funding for both of them. It would come out to 1,530. So how would you like to go about this?
Well, personally, I think maybe we could start with the seniors. I would vote that, I will make a motion that we fully fund the senior programs. And just slide those right off the table for cuts.
Okay, I think that's a great start because they were 400, 400 and 700, which comes out to 1,500 exactly.
so what we do want to go for the 700 on that one, because part of how we end up with those kind of numbers is in talking with Judy, when she's putting them in, she doesn't request more because she knows that our budget is limited and doesn't expect to be able to get more. So definitely the two that have come directly from them, I'm very comfortable with doing the full 400, but I'm less certain on whether we would want to go for the full 700 on the other one.
The Lynn,
Yeah,
what is it? The Lynn, I can't read my
Lynn
own.
McKinney, Lideck, and was it Letters from Clara Barton?
Yeah. Yeah, well, her whole performance is based on doing it during one of their meetings, even though anybody could go to it.
Yeah.
And that person, she applies outside of the senior center, whereas the other, or the seniors, whereas the other two apply directly to the as the seniors.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is kind of the seniors kind of self-select them, you know, that they cut the fat before requesting the money for us, whereas this one, you know, most people kind of just shoot higher expecting, you know, I think that they may not get the full amount.
Okay, so we could look at less money for that particular performer if you want. Do you have an idea of what you'd like to look at for them? Because if we go with the 4, 4, and 7, it's 1,500.
Yeah,
Across the board is what, if we give each of those groups 1,500 across the board, we're still $1,000 under.
yeah. I mean, I don't feel strongly in a particular dollar amount. It just seemed like that one we might want to have more consideration of potentially lowering a bit.
All right, so do you want to look at the other two, the Honky Tonk Piano Man and the Berlin Has Talent, automatically the 400 that they've requested, and come back and review
Yeah,
the
Okay.
other one later on?
yeah,
All right. So 400 for, which is what they requested for the Piano Man, and 400, oh, sorry, Berlin Has Talent, and 400 for the Piano Man.
yeah.
Okay. Do we
Are we
wanna-
making a motion?
I don't think we
Or do we
really,
need to?
yeah, I think it makes more sense once we have the full figure, since
Okay,
since it's relying on what we do for the others.
okay.
Okay, so we're holding on the amount for Lynn McKinney or whatever her name is. You got the calculator going, MJ?
Yeah,
Good.
I've got a spreadsheet going for this.
Well, I like it that we're going through this in groups because that makes a lot more sense to me in
Yeah.
my head. So since we're doing that, do you want to automatically fully fund both of the requests from the schools? Because again, that's very close to the 1,500. It's 1,530 if we fully fund them.
Perhaps in the way of making easier math, I would be comfortable cutting out that $30.
Okay. So right now, if we go 1,000 for Berlin Memorial and the 500 for the Tohoto request,
Yeah, that's the DPAC one, yes.
Yeah, it's the suicide prevention and the
Yeah.
caregiver
Yeah,
support. And it is open, it's going to be open to the general public as well. I mean, obviously, we usually draw mostly parents, but we are going
Yeah.
to be advertising it to the both towns and letting people know that anyone can attend.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's also in-school stuff, right, with that?
Yeah, yeah. Shine is actually going to, they gave us they cut $2,000 off of the cost of the program that they're putting on for us. So it's normally a $3,000 program. So they're working directly with the school, and that's, nobody's being charged for the program that's going to happen in the school with the students. And then we're getting the very big discount for the evening events.
That's terrific.
It is.
That was some serious negotiation.
They feel passionately about their mission too, of trying to help the mental health of students in the, I think it's Worcester County is really their region. So, yeah, but it was very nice of them.
Yeah, that's a lot of money to remove.
Yeah, they were listening to me and my co-president, sort of strategizing about, well, how much can we pull from, how much can we drain our savings isn't big. How much can we drain it? Who could we, how would we fundraise? And it was nice of them.
Okay, so yeah, let's pencil in the 1,000 for the young audience arts and the 500 DPAC. So shall we look next at the library ones?
Yeah, or we can look at the general population ones and then see what we have left over to give to the library, because they're the ones who have
Yeah.
asked for the most amount of money.
Yeah.
So the general population is 19 Carter and the Healing Garden.
And the
And
at York Johnny Cash one, that's the one he did last year, which was of all the highwaymen. I guess I heard it was a good performance. That he had, it wasn't through the library, but he had talked with Bob on that last year, so it was kind of that, did have a host, but
Yeah, did he say something in his request that it might be done through the 1870 town hall?
yeah, well, that's where he did his last one, and apparently that went quite well.
Yeah, I'm pulling up now to see
Yeah,
what he
I'm looking to.
Mm,
So when we discussed it last time, because I remember my issue with this one was that I didn't see any town support in the application. But MJ, you had said your understanding was that the library was sponsoring it.
Well, last time yeah, had arranged for them to be host on the,
I don't seem to be able to open it, so
Let me see if I can get in. I think I saved it onto my, yeah, this is the one. Oh, no, that's not it. That's work related.
just gonna mute for a second so I can yell to my husband.
There's the panel book. Okay, so we are looking for, where is he? What number is he? He is number 20. Okay, so he's down near the bottom. So what were we looking to, what was the information we were looking to find from his thing?
I think whether it had, any additional
Nice. Okay.
support.
All righty, let's see where we are. It's Elijah T. Grasshopper. Okay, so it's above Elijah T. Grasshopper.
Yeah.
And all right, Johnny Cash. Okay. So the amount requested is $550. Project is music. Here's the title, spring or fall of 2023. The Old Town Hall, I believe that's where I played previously. Number of people served is expected to be 50. Target audience is generally middle-aged and seniors, free, open to all. I think there's a large public benefit. Narrator. For promotion, he says, I think this is a strength of mine. The concert performance I do has been featured in the Boston Globe, Patriot Ledger, and many regional news outlets. There are many towns that have recorded it for cable access. I make short 90-second YouTube videos for each performance and share them extensively on social media. I reach out to local news organizations and towns officials and senior centers and other community groups that might be interested in attending. It's $400 for salaries and fees and $150 for travel transportation. No additional projected income needed. There is no in-kind support. I'm applying for a music grant. If necessary, to offset the difference, I'd look into trying to reduce travel and advertising costs. I have not applied to other local cultural councils. I want to mention that I think people really enjoyed the Highwayman concert. I did, and I'd love to come back. And there is no town. He included a copy of the Boston Globe article, but there's no town. He doesn't have a person it looks like he's just applying on his own.
Had he reached out to Bob at the library last time?
I'm not sure if he had for this one.
Last time it was a library thing though.
Yeah, last time he had reached out to Bob.
So he could do this performance at 19 Carter or at the town hall.
Yeah, I would imagine that he would do it at the 1870 again.
Don't both of those places charge a rental fee? If you don't, I mean, I would imagine that a town sponsor, if they're like the library, there probably wouldn't be a rental fee or there's some sort of agreement, but if just me as a artist, if I wanted to do something, don't I have to rent out the space?
Well, I would imagine that sponsorship from the Cultural Council would probably
Okay,
be not necessarily as good as the library, but I would think
okay, that they would.
I
accept
would
it.
think someone would waive that sort of, if not
Okay.
there, then at the library itself. Or
Okay,
Yeah, because whatever he did last time worked.
yeah, and I imagine that the library would be interested in promoting it again, even if it has not been talked about formally. I mean, it seems like it would be a good program, and though the age range is ones that are kind of fit by, would be more directed towards. I think it sounds like it's something with a broader appeal than some of the programs like that the seniors or library does. I think enough people under 50 know and like Johnny Cash that it would have, the potential to be attended decently. And I mean, that might be something too, that if they're short a little, that the Friends of the Library might look kindly upon as well.
sure.
What do you recommend we do with his request then? Which is for 550.
I wouldn't want to drop it down too much because I think lowering it too much might be more problematic than with some of the others, but I don't know, I was thinking 500.
I was gonna say, because he's asking for 150 for transportation, which gas prices have come down a bit. I think
Yeah,
lowering it to $100 for transportation, or however he wants, I mean, it's him and his wife, so
yeah,
I'd be comfortable with 500.
Yeah, me too.
okay, let's
Not
pencil.
really sure where Pembroke is, but I don't
It's
think,
on the South Shore. It's not that, I mean, it's not close, but it's not super far either.
yeah. That it would cost more than $50 for,
It doesn't cost $150 to get here from
Yeah.
Pembroke.
Yeah, I think 500 is probably where, and do it without having worrying about other funding and Also, math will be easier if we have less of these, 550s and 1030s and 582s.
All right, so in that.
Can you guess that I don't want to fund that one to exactly the amount?
If we have the money, we might as well.
Yes.
So do you want to look at the 19 Carter one? As,
Yeah, and the music therapy, yeah.
yeah. So do
I
you
think
wanna-
both of those would need to be dropped down. I would look towards dropping the music therapy one just because it is out of town, and I think I think it's a good program, but I think the 19 Carter one definitely is going to be serving a lot of people.
Yes, I'd be looking more at full funding the 19 Carter and giving the Healing Garden some money, but not $1,000 because it's not serving the same amount of people as the 19 Carter music program is.
Yeah, I mean, even the 19 Carter one, I would be comfortable if we aren't fully funding it. I mean, ideally, I'd like to give them away. They, will do good things with the money, but that's one where there are also a lot of other revenue sources. So I'm not concerned that if we drop it a couple $100 or something, that it would be too disadvantageous for their effort.
So do you want to look at about 1,800? I'm sorry, 800 for them?
Yeah, something about that.
All right, so we'll put that in tentatively as 800.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, last year we did 500 for the Healing Garden, but I'm not sure we really want to fund it that high again. What were you thinking about that?
Well, 500 is about what I was thinking tentatively.
If
Not
we did
sure I'd wanna-
1,500, so that would, for this group, that would be what, 300?
Say that again, Jess?
So we've got for this, if we're trying to like look at it in like $1,500 brackets right now,
Mhm.
the Johnny Cash one is 500. 19 Carter's 800. So that brings us to 1,200. So that leaves 300 for the Healing Garden.
Hold on, 500, that'd be 1,300 and,
Oh, so it's 200 for the
well,
Healing
I
Garden.
mean, we still have 7,000, not 6,000, so
Right.
I mean, at this stage, I would be
You want to stick
comfortable
with
not
500
saying,
at this stage?
yeah.
Okay.
Say that
How's
again, MJ?
So if we tentatively have the Healing Garden for 500, the Johnny Cash for 500, 19 Carter for 800, so that group would be 1,800 at the, and
Okay, yeah, because we can always
yeah,
switch things up again. That would be one I'd want to relook.
yeah,
at
yeah,
if we Go over on the other. So you're saying 500 on the
yeah, tentative.
Healing Garden. Okay, tentative
Okay.
500. Okay, so that leaves us with the library.
How much is their total request amount?
Way over the $2,500.
No, I know. I'm just asking because I want to put it in the minutes and I can't, I have so many pages open.
MJ's got the calculator. So
3 of them are 600,
one,
that's-
2, 3, 4, 5. So 666 is 1,800.
then
And
there's,
another 1,000, close to another 1,000, over another 1,000.
yeah, like,
Close to 1,100.
yeah, I think 1,107, so
18.
2907, I think.
Yeah, it's our biggest.
Right.
Yeah.
bus.
I just wanted to, I'm just trying to note sort of like in, yeah, I just wanted to know
I
how
can
much
do it
the
exactly.
overall request was total for them, for all their programs.
Yeah, I think it's $2,907, if
Okay.
my math is correct.
2907.
Okey dokey.
Yeah, so we need to cut back on that considerably.
Yeah,
So even if you across the board give every single one of those requests $500, it still comes out to 2,500.
yeah,
Which is above and beyond what every other group has gotten.
yeah,
I mean, I'd be willing to do it if it balances out, but I don't think that balances out.
Mm-mm.
That still puts us well above what we have.
yeah.
Yeah, so where are we right now on the calculations, MJ?
So
Before
if,
we can talk about the library.
so the ones we have penciled in come to 4,100. So if the library, if we did that at 2,500, that would be 6,600, but then we still have the Clara Barton ones that I had us pass over, which was requesting 700, so that would leave 400 if we did the 2,500 and didn't change anything else.
Do you want to look at funding all of the library programs at 500 and see where we come up?
Possible. One, two. There. Couple that seemed a little esoteric. The
That's what cultural is all about, the esoteric.
yeah, well, esoteric within the esoteric. I mean, I love it, esoteric and all that, but it's also, you know, fun having how much it is going to be used.
Several of them are involved with the reading program that they run in the summertime.
Yeah. Well, that's just saying like it. The reading program is great, but if we have several surrounding that, you know, whether they need quite as much or whether we can afford to give quite as much.
So Elijah T. Grasshopper is
We
the one I had difficulty with.
that one we said no to.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
Yeah, so we're looking
That was
at
on the other page.
the
Never mind.
Diane Edgecombe summer reading. The request is 525. The Mary Jo Mayachek music request 582. The J Mankita Makerspace request 600. Library's Pineapple Project 600, and the library's Korean Culture 600. And the latter two are kind of what I was a little less. I mean, those both the 600, I guess are the supplies for them. But it just seemed like a lot of
Although
money.
those are also ones where if it gets cut down to like the 500 or whatever, we end up, they might be able to charge something towards supplies.
Yeah,
These are aimed more at the teens.
yeah,
um, Or they may have other ways of finding some funding for the teens.
yeah,
The teen advisory board could probably do some fundraising even.
yeah.
Although I have no
Friends of
idea how many kids.
Library supports a lot of that too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because basically if you cut $100 or less off of each one, you can support each one
Right.
at $500.
And that gives them more ways to juggle trying to figure out how to fully fund if they need to fully fund
Mm.
some of them, because it's not as much, it's not having to come up with like half of the funding for something.
Yeah, so if we support each one of those at 500, it's 1, 2, 3, 82 and 25. So it's a little bit over $400 that they would have to come up to support every single one of those programs that they submitted.
Yeah.
It's not a whole bunch of money.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if we do that, that leaves the Clara Barton one and $400. So I think I want to fund that more than 400. I don't think I would want to fund that at 700.
Well, I would round back to the music therapy personally.
Would you say
Where-
again what you're saying, MJ, about the 700 Clara Barton one?
Yeah, so it right now, if we put in 2,500 on those library ones, that puts us to 6,600. So we have 400 left, and the Clara Barton one
Okay,
that we passed over is 700. And I think I would like to fund that more than 400, though the other senior ones are at 400. But
yeah,
even the other senior ones are at 400, I'm also quite comfortable not funding that to 700. So I think I'd like to, get more to 500 or 600 for that.
yeah, I think so, because the seniors of all of these groups have less availability of funds to support this stuff.
Yeah,
So you're
Mhm.
saying, let's see if we can push it up to like $500 or $600 and take away from another place.
yeah,
What
Right,
if we bumped music therapy down to 300 and bumped Clara Barton up to 600?
so bump Clara Barton to 600, and what was the one you said to?
the healing garden
The
to put,
healing garden, which is, I think it's a wonderful thing to support, but it is out of town. It is very limited in how many people utilize it. And my guess is they should, I mean, I can look back at their thing, but they should have other sources of funding
yeah,
other than just cultural council money.
yeah.
So you're saying push that back to around 300 instead of
Yeah.
the 500?
I mean, if we had more money than requests, then I would love to fund it more, but I think
Yeah,
in my mind, that's the place I'm most comfortable cutting more. I don't
Yeah.
really want to cut 19 Carter anymore because that a lot of different people in town do use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do potentially have the extra $100 that may come back to us. And
We
there
could-
are administrative funds that we very rarely use. I mean, what do we need those administrative funds for? To buy stamps? How many times do I buy stamps anymore? Now everything is electronic, so if we think we need to add in later on, we certainly have a very small amount of funds that we'd be able to push towards that.
I think if we do like the healing garden for 300 and then have that 100 later, that maybe that would be a place to put the 100 that are like 19 harder. I would think if we're dropping the music therapy down that much, that maybe that's kind of where I would be eyeing to offer the 100 if it indeed manifests. But I think the 300 for now is good.
Right, last year we gave them, I think, 500, and I think 1,000 was a reach.
Yeah,
It's okay, because I think that's what a lot of people do, is they do a reach amount and then
yeah,
hope they get close.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's what most of them do. I know that the seniors don't because I've, talked with Judy about that in past, but I think a lot of the others are.
I also could be reading the Healing Garden one wrong. I don't discount that I could be reading it wrong, but the way I'm reading it, it's also a program that's going to be running regardless of cultural council support, that this helps.
Yeah,
And it helps them reach more people, and it helps them let people access it free of charge. So I think it's wonderful to support it, but I also feel like if we don't give the seniors enough or the library enough, these are programs that then can't run in town.
yeah,
So I
yeah, and I wouldn't want to rely too heavily on the Friends of the Library having to, because I'm sure they fund more things than just what we don't fund out of the
I'm sure. No, but that was well said, Jess. I
Thank you.
agree with you.
Okay, so at the moment, what we're looking at, the 7,000 would be 1,000 for Berlin Memorial out of the 1,030 they asked, 400 for the Honky Tonk Piano Man, which is the full amount, 400 for the Berlin Has Talent, which is the full amount, 500 for the Shine Initiative, which is the full amount, 500 for Diane Edgecombe's Summer Reading, which had requested 525, 500 for the Mary Jo Majacek Music, which had requested 582, 500 for the Makerspace, which had requested 600, 600 for the Clara Barden presentation, where she had requested 700, 800 for the 19 Carter Music Series, which had requested 1,000, 500 for the Pineapple Project, which had requested 600, 500 for the Korean Cultural Project, which had requested 600, 300 for the Music Therapy, which had requested 1,000, and 500 for the Johnny Cash performance, which had requested 550.
And the grand total is?
That is 7,000. If we do that, that is the 7,000.
I move that we accept those amounts as described.
We have a second.
I will second that, but I will need to grab everything again. I think I know what it all is, though. Okay, I'll second it.
Okay. So let's put it up to a vote. Jess, yay or nay for that omnibus funding?
Yay.
Deborah, yay or nay for that omnibus funding?
Yeah.
And I am in favor of that as well. So that takes care of the funding for this year. And I do need to remember to, I should talk to Bob about for future that you're giving us some difficulty with how much it is going through. Yeah, it completely slipped my mind that I was going to talk to him about
Okay.
that.
Right, just so I can quickly make sure I have it right in the minutes. Fruit flies like banana is 1,000.
Yes,
Senior, the honky tonk piano man is 400.
yes,
The Berlin has talent is 400.
yes,
The Shine at Tohoto is 500.
yes.
And I say thank you on behalf of the board. I don't know if I was supposed, I guess I'm allowed to vote.
Well, given that we're dealing with, you can't really look at them individually when you're
Right, we
dealing
voted
with,
it as
so
nominal.
And
know,
MJ and I are still a majority.
Right.
yeah.
Okay,
Well, I mean,
good.
if
Okay.
we were dealing with them all completely separate, I would, stay out of the 19
Gotcha.
Carter one, but
right.
it's a small town, there's no avoiding
We're
conflict.
doing the best we can.
Yeah.
The interactive summer reading performance for families, 500.
Yes,
The lift every voice, sing every song, 500?
yes,
Okay, that was one of the ones I didn't catch. Makerspace, 500.
yes,
Follow the Canon, 600.
yes,
Always remember, no, we didn't do that one. We didn't do that one. The 19 Carter is 800.
yes.
Oops. That didn't go where it was supposed to. Hang on. Okay. Those are nays. Pineapple is 500.
Yes,
The Korean Spirit is 500.
yes.
And music therapy is 200 or 300?
300.
300. I don't remember, obviously. And Johnny Cash is 500. And that's that. Okay, for 7,000.
Yes,
And if we have the extra 100 from Neshoba, people are inclined towards the Healing Garden, but obviously we will
Yeah.
probably have to discuss it. Or,
uh,
or not, I'm assuming.
yeah, I think we would. And so the only other item on the agenda, kind of two-part. We will have to meet at some point again when it's time for the town report. So if we're all amenable, I'm happy to produce it and just have a meeting to vote on that. And I mean, we pretty much use the same format each year, so I don't think that delves too much into creativity, just, the bureaucracy of that. So I'm not sure when they're going to be asking for that. So can't,
Pretty soon, probably.
yeah, yes, I imagine towards the end of the month or beginning of next month. And we also still have hanging over our heads needing to have a community survey thing, which I'm thinking, given we haven't managed to do anything with that to this point, that if we were to do another, was it Survey Monkey, is that the name of the site? That if
Yes.
we were to do that again, then maybe if we timed looking for people to do it around when town meeting is, we could throw a little, piece of paper here, please go to this. I mean, I would still, wanna primarily just, put it on Facebook and that, but I figured that I shouldn't imagine there would be too much involved in just having a piece of paper at
Yeah.
the town meeting that gets handed out with whatever other materials get I'm not sure what the process is for doing that, but could talk to presumably, I guess, various and moderator.
Probably talk to Eloise about it.
Yeah, that's,
Eloise will probably know better the process. 'Cause
yeah,
we just, with the community garden, we just submitted our application to her to go out in the census, so I feel like she knows how all this
yeah,
kind of happens.
yeah, so I can talk to her about
When is
that.
the census going out?
Should go out soon.
Oh, okay.
because- Yeah, it usually
we-
comes out mid-January. 'Cause that's
Maybe-
when I start getting all the applications for the garden in.
So obviously it wouldn't work this year, but maybe in future years, we could just see if we
Yeah.
can get it included in the census
Oh, that's a nice idea.
mailing.
Yeah,
Then we know
Yeah.
everyone's had an opportunity to
that
give
sounds
feedback.
like a good idea, so,
I'm
Yeah.
happy to write up a draft survey and share it with the group and people
okay.
can take at it and go from there.
Okay,
That's what I was hoping for, but didn't wanna ask.
yeah. So
I can do
MJ, are
that.
you able to put these numbers into Smart and Simple? And then after that, I have to do the last treasurer's thing by January 17th or 19th or something like that. So we don't have to write letters anymore. From what I read, you just have to put into Smart and Simple how much we are allotting to each of the grants.
Okay, the question
then
is,
that'll-
how does that work with the money from town versus money from,
I am expecting that because of the way I did the last report, that the town money got included in what we could grant. So if you go in, if you can do it in the next couple of days and you go in and find that it's kicking you out, let me know. And then
Okay.
I'll contact the cultural, what's her name, Hanako. I will contact her and ask her how to go about that.
okay, but in theory, I should be able to just put in the money for all of them.
Yes, yes, we just got an email about it and it told you how to do it. So if
Okay.
you put the money in, let me know when you've done it. And then I will go in and I will do the report that I need to do as the treasurer. And then the funds will be released to us.
Okay, yeah, I should be able to do that, so we'll plan that. I'll do that and I'll let you know, and I will make the draft report for town meeting before that is due, and Jess can work on the draft for our
Survey.
survey, yes, and with Karen mentioned that Fridays have become difficult. I mean, obviously, when we have our next meeting, will kind of have to be figured out closer to when it happens, but how do different days of the week look for people in general? 'Cause now that I'm not working as late, at least for the time being, I think eventually the store hours will be later, but we close at 7, so like maybe not 7:30, but like 8 o'clock, I can pretty much do any day of the week unless I happen to have a meeting that day. So don't know if there's
Mondays
day.
are the only day I have a conflict with CPAC meetings.
okay.
I don't currently have any evening conflicts.
Okay, so we'll be open, I guess, to different, if Fridays aren't working as well, I'm happy to.
And we don't meet every Monday, so I'm certainly,
Yeah, okay,
that's the only day where I have standing.
Yeah, and I did read Karen's email, but I can't remember what day she said Friday was the one day that was becoming a problem for her. So it didn't sound like the other days were.
yeah. Yeah, I'd have, whenever figure out when we need to meet, I'll have to look at, I think. Forget whether it's Wednesdays or Tuesdays that the meetings I have for community preservation are, but those aren't every week either. And I think this year I'll actually make the budget meeting for our budget. I didn't actually attend in past years, and ours is pretty simple. We ask for 1,500 every year. Please give it to us. But you'd actually be able to attend and say that in person, like a proper quote unquote department head.
So I think I told you everything about the treasurer's thing. I haven't received anything still from since the end of June in terms of justifying any of the money. So I'm assuming Meredith Charles has been paid. She was submitted in November, but I haven't gotten the paperwork that I usually have to fill out once June is doing that. So nothing's changed for me.
Okay, so I guess we'll aim to probably meet towards the end of January, beginning of February, and once the town report deadlines come up, I'll reach out to you and let you know where we're trying to shoot for and figure that out. So I don't have anything else.
So would you like me to move that we adjourn?
I think that's an excellent idea. Would someone like to second that excellent idea?
I'm
We'll
seeing some big
second
head
that
nodding.
excellent idea.
Okay,
Nice to
yes,
see all
yay or
of you.
nay.
Yay.
Yay.
Effort. And I
Mr.
vote
Pike?
in favor as well. So this meeting of the Cultural Council is adjourned.